வணக்கம் and welcome to Breakthroughs and Blunders, டை சென்னையோட entrepreneur tales podcast, where success meets chaos and blunders turn into brilliance. Get ready for real stories, raw insights, and a few laughs, all in Tanglish as we dive into the wild world of entrepreneurship. Let's shake it down. வணக்கம் and welcome to another episode of டை சென்னை's Breakthroughs and Blunders. இன்னைக்கு நம்மளோட கெஸ்ட் டை சென்னையோட சார்ட்டர் மெம்பர் Sowmya Mahadevan. Vanakkam Sowmya.
Vanakkam Pravin, it is fabulous. It's fantastic to be here and thank you so much for the opportunity to have me on your show. I've been listening to these podcasts and I've been enjoying every single one of them. So it's amazing to be here today.
Absolutely Sowmya. As the host, என்னோட ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டியை பாருங்களேன், ஸ்பெண்டிங் 40 minutes ஒவ்வொரு எக்ஸ்பர்ட்டோட 40-50 நிமிஷம், அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ப்ரிப்பரேஷனுக்கு ஒரு 10 நிமிஷம், ஒவ்வொருத்தரோட பரிமாணங்கள், ஒவ்வொருத்தரோட லேர்னிங்ஸ். ஆஸ் அன் ஆண்டர்ப்ரனர் நான் கடகடன்னு போயிட்டு என் பிஸ்னஸில் உடனே இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணுறேன். அண்ட் இன்றைக்கி சௌமியா அகெயின் நம்ம வந்து ஒரு டிஸ்கஷனுக்கு வந்திருக்கோம். நான் என்ன தான் ஹோஸ்ட்டாக இருந்தாலும் நானும் கற்றுக்கிறதுக்கு தான் வந்திருக்கேன். பட் பிஃபோர் வி ஸ்டார்ட், சௌமியா என்ன பண்ணுறீங்க? இப்போ உங்கள் பிஸ்னஸை பற்றி கொஞ்சம் சொல்லுங்கள் நம்ம லிசனர்ஸ்க்கு.
ஷோர். நீங்கள் சொன்ன மாதிரி மை நேம் இஸ் Sowmya Mahadevan. ஐ எம் ரன்னிங் அ கம்பெனி கால்டு KriyaDocs. அண்ட் நாங்கள் என்ன பண்ணுறோன்னா, வி ஆக்சுவலி ஹெல்ப் scholarly publishers and academic publishers who publish research articles and books, academic books. We help them publish it much faster with higher quality and, actually make their own entire process much more efficient. So that's kind of what we bring to the table. We are a 20-year-old business and who has been running. And so my title is a Chief Operating Officer. உள்ளுக்குள்ள ஆக்சுவலாக என்னோட ஆஃபீஸ்க்குள்ளே there is a different title. I'm called the Chief Orchestrator. Basically in a nutshell, என்ன வேணுமோ for people, I need to make sure that they have what they need to do their job well.
Wonderful. So சூத்திரதாரியாக இருக்கீங்க. We will come back to this company a bit more. But நீங்கள் ஆல்ரெடி ஒரு இன்டர்ப்ரனராக இருந்திருக்கீங்க முன்னாடி. அந்த ஜேர்னி பற்றி சொல்லுங்கள். யூஎஸ்லேருந்து வந்துட்டு இங்கே புதுசாக ஆரம்பிச்சிங்களே, அதை பற்றி கொஞ்சம் நம்ம வியூவர்ஸ்க்கு சொல்லுங்கள்.
Super. I think I was very, very lucky, I must say. This was a very interesting opportunity that I had. நான் வந்து like the whole lot of people that went from India after finishing their engineering to the US for masters, I followed the herd. I went to the US, I did my masters, worked there for a little bit, but I got a very good opportunity to start an Indian division for a
But you
company.
went and pitched for it.
I went and pitched for it. I went and told my boss that, hey, I needed to move back to India. How about we start a division in Chennai? And somehow I was able to convince. That's when I realized I was actually a good marketing person, because he fell for the idea and decided to actually fund it.
Right.
So I started a small division over here and then went through an acquisition, a growth plan. Also went through some learnings about how to integrate the acquired company with the acquiring company.
Right.
Went through all of that. So it was a very, very interesting opportunity for me. And learning, lots of learning in a very short period of time. So that was my first stint with entrepreneurship, I should say.
Very nice. Now, Breakthroughs and Blunders தான் தலைப்பு. என்னெல்லாம் ஆண்டர்ப்ரனர் சொதப்பிருக்காங்க, அந்த சொதப்பல்ல நான் என்ன கற்றுக்க முடியும். ஸோ அந்த பிளண்டர்ஸ், ஃபெயிலியர்ஸை பற்றி ஏதாவது ஒரு உதாரணம் சொல்ல முடியுமா ஃப்ரம் யோர் கெரியர்?
எவ்வளோ டைம் இருக்கு பிரவீன்?
சுருக்கமாக முதல்ல ஒன்று சொல்லுங்க, அடுத்தது மறுபடியும் கேட்போம்.
Absolutely. I think the life of an entrepreneur is to keep making mistakes, because that's how you're trying something new.
Yeah.
But you have to learn from that mistake. Right. So rather than, I don't like to use the word failure, but I think all of these are very interesting, experiences, so to speak, right? So when I first, joined KriyaDocs as a co-founder, and I think I was very intimately working with one of our customers. We were in a very, very precarious position with that customer. They basically gave us an ultimatum and said, we're going to cut the business if not, if you guys don't improve and all that. So I think that was like a bit of a time where I had to really figure out how to solve this particular problem, how to retain this particular account, and make sure that we are able to grow from there.
Right.
We did that, and it required a lot of hand holding the team, working with the team, getting into the depths and figuring it out. So it's not so much as a blunder as much as it was like a fantastic learning opportunity and growing with your team through that. I would say one of the biggest blunder that I have made probably as an entrepreneur so far is not realizing the potential of your network.
Ah.
Okay. So I've, sometimes you get so caught up in what's happening in your
Business as
company, in your
usual.
business, right? So you go in and you're like, so morning to evening, you're working very hard, and you don't quite sometimes realize
The
that there are
firefighter mode.
firefighter mode, right? Somebody though recently told me that firefighters are trained to make sure that they're training for when a fire happens. They are not always putting out fires. Okay, so I think we have understood it, incorrectly. But it's very easy for you to get caught up inside your business.
ஆமா.
ஸோ என்னோட பிக்கஸ்ட் பிளண்டர் என்னன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எனக்கு வந்து இன்சைட் டை இட் செல்ஃப் ஃபார் இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ் தெர் ஆர் சோ மெனி பீப்புள் ஹூ ஆர் கேப்பபிள் ஆஃப் பீயிங் மென்டர்ஸ் டு ஹூம் இஃப் யூ ஸ்பீக் அப் அண்ட் ஓப்பன் அப் அபவுட் யோர் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் யூ வில் கெட் வண்டர்ஃபுல் பெர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ்ஸ். Just recently we brought Mr. Ranga,
Right.
another
charter member.
another charter member on our board, and it has been a fabulous experience, because you just get that sort of experience. And interestingly, he's gone through a very similar journey. He also started a services business, which then became a technology-led services business. The very similar journey that KriyaDocs has also gone through. And I think so, yeah, if I were to put it as one big blunder that I have made is probably not networked enough.
Inside tie itself.
Inside tie itself, absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
வெரி வெரி குட் பாயிண்ட் சௌமியா. எனக்கு வந்து பாக்கெட்டில் 100 ரூபா இருக்குது, அதை பார்த்துக்கிறத விட்டுட்டு நான் வெளியே போய் 10 ரூபா பார்க்குறது வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். டையில் இப்போ 1000 மெம்பர்ஸ் இருக்காங்க. சார்ட்டர் மெம்பர் மட்டுமே ஒரு 250 கிட்ட இருக்குது.
And just to add here, what's very amazing is yaar kitta poi help ketalum, they're actually willing to help.
Absolutely.
And I've approached you, and you've been a very important part of the KriyaDocs journey. You've given us a lot of feedback and inputs, etc. I think I've learned that from a lot of people. I've learned quite a bit by networking, and I don't think I'm still doing enough of it. So I think if I say one blunder that I'm continuing to make is probably not leveraging your network, not really networking.
But thanks for saying it. டை சென்னை மார்க்கெட்டிங்க்கு மிக்க நன்றி. ஆனால் வெரி வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் பாயிண்ட். ஏன்னா இத்தனை பேர் இருக்கும்போது நம்ம ஏதோ நெட்வொர்க் பண்ண இருக்கிறத முதல்ல யூஸ் பண்ணுங்கள். நம்மக்கிட்டேயே இவ்வளோ ஸ்ட்ரென்த் இருக்குது, இவ்வளோ மெம்பர்ஸ் இருக்காங்க. கடன்னு மீட்டிங், நெட்வொர்க்கிங், கான்ஃபரன்சஸ், ஈவெண்ட்ஸ்னு டை ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ணிகிட்டே இருக்குது. டைன்னு இல்லை, எந்த அசோசியேஷன் சேர்ந்தாலும் ஐயோ அந்த அசோசியேஷன் எனக்கு ஹெல்ப் பண்ணலன்னு யோசிப்பாங்க. நீ எத்தனை முறை அதுக்கு போன? How much did you participate? How much did you contribute? What did you ask? Did you ask specifically என்ன வேணும்னு கேட்டோமா? கேட்கல.
So there is a very interesting thing over here, right? So I think that's so when you're talking about networking, I think there is a certain level of vulnerability that you need to bring to the table to actually get the value out of networking. So if and this is again something that I've learned, through experience, because if you're simply going to network to show off what you're able to do and just say hi, hello, it doesn't go to the depth that you want it to go to. And so then that's when you don't see the power of the network, so to speak.
Absolutely. But picking on something you said, Sowmya, ஒன்று சொன்னீங்க that you are aware or are faced with the challenge of being a services company and a tech product company. அது என்ன ஜேர்னி, அதை சொல்லுங்களேன் கொஞ்சம்.
Sure. So நாங்கள் வந்து we are actually a 20-year-old company. Started the journey as a services business, a pure play services business, working in the e-publishing space. And about 7-8 years back, we started building our own product. Right. And so now where we are still a services business, but we also have the product. So we are a technology-led services business, right? So we are riding two horses there. It's a pretty challenging sort of a route to take, because if you just start up and set up a product company, you will do it a certain way. If you only have a services business, you will do it a certain way. But when you marry these two, which have very different cultures of operating, I think it brings its own set of challenges to the table.
Excellent. இப்போ as far as TN is concerned, or India to a larger extent, I'm generalizing, எல்லா services companyமே they want to become a product company. Was that the reason you started the product, or it happened organically?
No, it's very interesting, because the reason why I think we became a product company was because me and my co-founder are actually software engineers.
Right.
So the thought processes are always in code. And I think that's unfortunately that's
பேசிக்கிறதுலயும் பைத்தான் கோட்லயே தான் பேசுவீங்களா இல்ல நார்மல் தமிழ்லயும் பேசுவீங்களா?
So that's kind of why I think we realized that and also looking at how the industry is morphing, how the whole way work is being done is morphing. And today there are so many different things that are coming about AI. I don't want to talk about AI because it's such an abused word at this point in every podcast. But it is changing. Reality is that it is changing the way people are thinking and doing business. So you have to be at the forefront of such changes.
Right. இப்போ 2 குதிரை ஓட்டிட்டு இருக்கீங்க. You're riding 2 horses right now. Shifting into hiring challenges because you are also a fast growing company. கடகடகடன் வளர்ந்துட்டு வரீங்க. என்ன மாதிரி ஹைரிங் சேலஞ்சஸ் எல்லாம் இருக்குது உங்களுக்கு? வாட் challenges or what you don't want to call it failures, points of improvement can you share? போகிற ரேட்டில் என்ன மார்க் ஃபெயில் இல்லை, நம்ம பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் இம்ப்ரூவ்மெண்ட் தான் சொல்லணும் போட்டிருக்கு.
Yeah, so hiring is always very challenging,
Right.
I think, for any business, any entrepreneur, especially if you're like the small and medium segment, right? Because you probably don't have the time. I would say time is the biggest constraint, not even the money and the resources, but you don't have the necessarily the time and the bandwidth to look through many candidates and zone in on the right person. What worked for a large company may not work for a small company. So if you find somebody who is very well established in a large company, they may be an utter failure when it comes to coming and joining a small and medium enterprise, right? So I think it is always a trial and error, and you evolve the process as you go along. The mistake, I would say, or like the learning that I have had now that I'm very positively charged and I always talk about is that you have to be very clear why you're hiring somebody,
Right.
and what is it that they need to bring to the table. So some of the where we have probably, if I look back, we have brought in people where we liked the person. We had an aspiration. We thought this person might come in and do these sorts of things when nothing was proven in their background, right? So you be very optimistic about what a person can come and how they can change and how they can transform your business. I think those have been some of the challenges or the mistakes, so to speak, that we've made from a hiring perspective. The other obviously is not firing fast enough, right? Because you kind of go through a lot to bring somebody into the... you have to market yourself quite a bit. If you're like an IBM and an Apple, it's very easy to hire people. But when you're a small business, you do need to kind of market yourself very well and try to attract the talent. But then if this talent is not working for you, how quickly are you going to make that decision to let go? I think sometimes we get too married to that. நான் இவ்வளோ டைம் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணேன்னு இந்த பர்சனை கொண்டு வரதுக்கு, லெட் மீ ட்ரை, இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் நாள் ட்ரை பண்ணலாம், இன்னும் இதை ட்ரை பண்ணலாம், லெட் மீ டீச் திஸ் பர்சன். அண்ட் that's a very dangerous mindset to get into, because that is not what you signed up for. You don't need to mentor and coach. And I mean, of course you do need to mentor and coach people, but you don't need to change people. You have to be very clear about whether this person is working for you or not working for you, and to take calls.
So for a growing company, Sowmya, உங்களை மாதிரி ஒரு கம்பெனிக்கு senior hires எவ்வளோ பெரிய சேலஞ்ச், எஸ்பெஷலி செகண்ட் லைன் ஆஃப் லீடர்ஷிப் ஆர் மீடியம் டு மிட் டு சீனியர் லெவல், பட் மோர் ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்லி தட் செகண்ட் லைன் ஆஃப் கமாண்ட் டு ஹூம் த ஃபவுண்டர்ஸ் co-founders கேன் ஹேண்ட் ஓவர், அது எவ்வளோ பெரிய சேலஞ்சாக இருந்திருக்கு? அது எப்படி ஃபேஸ் பண்ணீங்க?
I think that's a challenge that I think all companies have.
Yes.
When they are transitioning from like a very small company to like a medium and then to a larger company. Right now we are about 250 people, so there is a good second line that we have at this point. It continues to be a challenge because, like I said, I think what worked in a very large organization may not work in a smaller organization. So you need the people with the right mindset to come in, and you want somebody who's coming in with that sort of a growth mindset, and you have to support them to grow. Simultaneously, you also have to invest in the people that you have and get them to go cross that line to becoming greater leaders than what they were earlier, right? Because chinna organization, like, you're very used to being very controlling.
Yeah.
Nee panna. That's very easy to do. Then when you're making that transition, it becomes a little challenging.
Now let's shift to marketing, Sowmya. But before marketing, why not something lighter? Any funny incident that you have experienced or your company has experienced? Lots of travel, lots of interactions with clients, customers, people. Anything funny you can relate?
Absolutely. It is funny when in retrospective. Appa, it was not very funny. It was very painful. So I'll tell you some examples. In the initial stages, right, when we go out for international conferences and try to pitch the product and things like that, you can book slots where you speak, and these are like places where you can go and talk.
You sponsor and
you sponsor and you get a slot and you can speak for people and you try to market and you get people to come. Of course, these were in the initial stages. We didn't do too much of marketing. We would just book a slot and go on. So we've had cases.
Marketing
So we've had cases where we've gone to a conference and booked a slot, done a presentation, and there were only like 3 people in the audience. And this is like a really large, 150, 200 seater audience, and 3 people will be there. So that has happened. But why I say it's a funny incident, today I can look back at it and smile about it, because one of the people in the audience actually gave us business later on. So my strike rate was 1 out of the 3, right? So again, goes to show that it is a very heart-sinking feeling when such things happen. Absolutely.
Birthday party correct. You paid and you have a hall.
We just sunk so much money. We booked this hall. We put all of this effort and nobody shows up. But it happens. I think the beauty of being an entrepreneur is that just dust yourself off, go to the next day, try again. Learn from it and just try again, right? So I think...
Very nice. But I did read a recent LinkedIn post on a company pati. Looks like you're continuing to book that hall sponsor, and now the hall is full after so many years. Is that right?
Yes. Thankfully, we have come, moved in the right direction.
Something is right.
Something seems to be a touch wood, so something seems to be working now. Yeah.
Very nice. Booking a hall, of course, marketing da. It's a touch and go gamble, especially when you're looking at these international fairs. And the other problem, of course, is rendu kudra odringa. There is a services company, there's a tech company to the same market. There is a perception, positioning, ஏகப்பட்டது இருக்கு. அதில் என்ன மாதிரி challenges எல்லாம் face பண்றீங்க, Sowmya?
See, the industry that we are in is a small niche industry. Achha. So it's not like this blast and you'll get people coming in. So we have to position ourselves as a thought leader, and we have to have very authentic conversations with people. We have to have very honest conversations. We have to make sure that we are seen by a lot of people, but also I think you have to be honest. I think that honesty has to come out in the way we are talking, right? So you were talking about the services and technology. Yes, it has been a huge challenge. But now, should I market myself as a product? Should I market myself as services? Should I do a mix of both? I don't think we figured it out at that point of time. I think it's been a very organic process that we have gone through. Sometimes it has not worked at all. Sometimes it's worked. But you just have to keep trying. I think now the where we are, it's everybody wants a technology product. So we do lead with the product marketing as the the lead into it. But yeah, it's been a trial and error is all I would say.
But Sowmya, you said honest, authentic. How do you communicate that to your niche clientele?
So we do have, say, customer testimonials, for instance. So we do, and in order to get a customer to give us a testimonial, you better be good.
Yes.
So right there, you need to make sure that your product does what it does. You do what it is that you say that you do, and all of that. And then sometimes it's about how you put yourself out there. So as co-founders, I put myself out there. My founder goes and puts himself out there. And so you have to be the face of the organization, at least when you're going through this transition process. What you talk about also cannot be at a very surface level marketing thing. Kunjo, you need to be a little bit more deeper. You need to be able to produce case studies. You need to be able to get on a call and show a demo if required, and things like that. So that's what I mean but because when the perception that somebody looks at you as an organization has to be that, okay, these guys know what they're talking about. These people mean serious business.
Right. But on the COVID times, you're doing something unique. Building a community inside the niche community that you are targeting.
That's actually, Pravin, I would say thanks to you, actually. I know, this is, again, a power of the networking that I was talking about. I know we had a lot of conversations about it during the COVID time, because what do you do when you can't really travel, when the entire travel kind of stopped? And I think that's when we came up with this Publisher Speak community, where we said, okay, let's build our own community efforts. Virtual community at that point. Now it has turned into like conferences that we run as in-person conferences a couple of times a year. And so that's been going very, very, very good.
Tell us a bit more about it. Your own conference, it's branded in your company.
Yes. So we run a conference called Publisher Speak, which is an in-person conference, and we have people who come in. We invite publishers to come in, And we do bring in some, special speakers, but we also run like a design thinking workshop in the afternoons. It's because we want to give back value to the attendees to take back. So an experiential, interactive sort of a workshop. That's what we've been running now for a few editions of the conference right now. It's been received really well. And I think those are, again, some different kind of initiatives that we have put in place that has kind of given us, at least people turn around and look at us a little differently.
சௌமியா, ஒரு விஷயம் நான் வரவங்க எல்லாத்தையும் கேட்பேன். என்ன பர்சனல் ஹேபிட்ஸ் இருக்குது, என்ன ட்ரீட்ஸ், என்ன ரிச்சுவல்ஸ்? நீங்கள் முதல்ல சொன்னபடி எல்லாம் ஃபயர் ஃபைட்டர் மோடு தான். ஆஃபீஸ் உள்ளே போகிறதுக்கு முன்னாடியே there'll be 20,000 emails waiting, 5 people, 10 people. How does Sowmya manage her mental peace? If I may ask that question, please share.
So, very honestly, not very well. So, so I think you kind of இது ஒரு அது என்ன அந்த ஒரு you have to get hardened by iron மாதிரி. You have to go through that thing, cauldron, to actually become better. But there is one interesting practice that I have picked up that I do want to talk about. நான் வந்து ஒரு 2-3 yearsக்கு முன்னாடி I had gone for one retreat. இங்கே வந்து I picked up this, I was taught this particular technique called morning pages. காலங்கார்த்தால எழுந்து, before you think too much, you write 3 pages of whatever comes in your head. Okay, I was like, what the heck? What does this even mean? So I was very, very skeptical when I first heard about it. And of course I was made to do it during the retreat, and came back and I picked it up, did it a few times, gave it up, tried again, gave it up, tried again. But now that is one ritual that has kind of stuck with me. So it's almost like in a kartala, I can't have coffee without writing my 3 pages. And people who have not tried it, I would say, please give it a shot. Okay, it is something that really, really is valuable for you to sort of empty what's in your head and start a fresh day, which I think is super important for an entrepreneur. I don't think we talk enough about the mental challenges of being an entrepreneur, because everybody wants to come and put their problems on top of your head, right? This is not working, that is not working, this happened, that happened. You're sort of like the catch-all for all the problems. So you do need to have something that you are doing, whether it is meditation or whether it is running and things like that, right? So to actually get that mental calm down state of mind. So this morning pages ritual has actually helped me quite a bit. It's something that I think for the last 3 years now, I have been doing very, very religiously. Wake up in the morning, 3 pages. I don't read what I have written, but it is like almost like a garbage dump madri. It's like you're clearing the
3 பக்கம் புலம்பல் pages.
Polambal pages. Sometimes it will be polambal. Sometimes there'll be a wonderful idea that comes about, and then you'll be like, okay, let me go try that. But it is a very, very powerful tool that I would recommend. I recommend if somebody hasn't ever tried it. It's called morning pages. There you can just go Google morning pages. There is a lot of people who talk about it. A lot of people who tell you how to do it. That is something that I feel that I'm very, very I hold very sacred. The other thing that I think has also helped me is running. So I started running only in the last few years. I've never been running or being anything related to athletics earlier on. But now I do have a ritual of going every at least 3-4 times a week. I go out running with a group, without a group, but I think it's again one of those activities. Running is like meditation. It's one of those activities that helps you, kind of reset and be ready to face the day.
Interesting. Sowmya, I'm bringing back a topic we discussed earlier. ஏன்னா நீங்கள் ஒரு க்ரோத் ஸ்டேஜ் கம்பெனி கடற்கடன் வளர்ந்துட்டுருக்கீங்க. நம்ம இருக்கிற டைம் மெம்பர்ஷிப்பை பார்த்தீங்கன்னாலும் ஃபாஸ்ட் க்ரோயிங் ஸ்மால் கம்பெனிஸ் கிராஜுவேட்டிங் இன் டு த ஸ்மால் டு மீடியம் சைஸ் பார்ட் ஆஃப் இட். எல்லாருக்கும் பெரிய பிரச்சனையே இந்த ஹையரிங் தான். ஒன்று, எனக்கு கம்பெனிக்கு பிராண்டு கிடையாது. ஸோ அண்ட் ஆஸ் அன் ஆண்டர்ப்ரனர் இந்த ஸ்டார்ட் அப் ஸ்டேஜ் ஃபஸ்ட் கம்பெனி, எனக்கும் பிராண்டு கிடையாது. அப்போ எதை நம்பி உள்ளே வருவாங்க? அஃப்கோர்ஸ் இப்போ ஏஐன்னு போட்டால் எல்லோரும் உள்ளே வந்துடுவாங்க. பட் ஆன் அ சீரியஸ் நோட், where do you take your freshers from? How do you intern? என்ன ட்ரைனிங் பண்ணுறீங்க? நிறைய சொதப்பிருப்பீங்க, பட் என்ன பண்ணுறீங்கன்னு முதல்ல சொல்லுங்கள்.
Absolutely. I think இது வந்து கண்டினியூஸ் லேர்னிங் ப்ராசஸ் இல்லையா? And to find the right people, to make sure that you are able to have continuous talent coming in, because you will also be at some point losing people. That will happen
Yes.
because of life. Some people will get married and leave you. Some people, so a lot of things will happen. So you need to have a strategy for hiring at various levels. So at a fresher entry level talent, so we have attempted several things, and I think some things have worked, some things have not worked. But இப்போ the things that have worked is we have a lot of partnerships with colleges, different tiers of colleges for different purposes. And these are things that we have cultivated over a long period of time. And so we offer internships at sometimes even at a third year level in engineering.
Oh, wow.
We
Catch
offer
them young, catch them younger.
Yeah, catch them young. We go and we spend a lot of time with the colleges also.
Right.
Like we go and do some workshops for them, and we go and deliver talks. My people will go and deliver some talks, things like that. So there is a very close relationship that you kind of start building with some of these placement officers. But you also develop a system that you have, a process of evaluating these freshers, these interns. And so that you can take a lot of people, put them through a process, and then evaluate them, and then absorb them into your company. You need to have a very strong onboarding process. I would say that is still something that we are perfecting still.
Right.
But it is very important for freshers to come and see. A lot of people today talk about the problems with Gen Z talent.
Have you solved it?
No.
இல்ல சொல்றத பார்த்தா ஏதோ சொல்யூஷன் இருக்கிற மாதிரி
No, but honestly, I think the difference right now is the generation today want to have a sense of purpose.
Right.
Okay, where they are no longer ready to just be given a list of tasks and be made and asked to do it. So they want to actually have a sense of purpose. So this means that you have to craft your vision for the company. Not just vision for the company, you have to craft a vision for that person, how you see them fitting into your company. What is it that they can aspire to become? What is it, how they will change or morph when they come along with you on this particular journey? Idella romba clear ah communicate pananum. Which means what? It has to be clear in your head first.
Oh, right. Yes, of course.
Before you can communicate it. So I think that is the biggest challenge that we have today, is you can no longer just hire somebody and put them into this thing and expect them to stick, because they all want to have, it's not just about the money for them anymore, right? It's all about, am I really making a change in the world? Okay, so how can you talk at that level and really communicate your vision and your purpose, how they are contributing to that change? Now the challenge here is your entire organization now needs to talk that language. From your hiring frontline person who is making the call, they have to elevate and talk, to be able to give that sense of purpose to the young people who are coming in. So that is the challenge that we have in front of us. This is solved only by repeated communication, by instilling that sense of purpose, the sense of belonging towards the organization, and how they are here now and they can really make a change. Adu panna, some of the freshers, I tell you, are really gold. They are amazing.
Oh, wow, that's a rare comment I'm hearing about Gen Z.
Exactly, right? So there is a perception that it's a very difficult group to work with, but it's very difficult because they're not just going to listen to what you're saying, right? So they want to be challenged to think. They want to be challenged to solve problems, solve hard problems. They want autonomy. And you should be able to give all of this. Right?
As a founder-driven company at the cusp of growth, a lot of founders will have a problem with giving autonomy to freshers who are coming in, Sowmya. Don't you think so?
Of course. I mean, why only to freshers? Autonomy to a lot of people it's that sense of giving away control is there.
In a lighter vein, எல்லாம் அந்த Simon Sinek synopsis படிச்சுட்டு வந்துட்டு they are telling you, tell me why. If I have to do, tell me why I have to do that.
Correct.
Micro vision. Very, very interesting. Lovely. Hits and misses, but looks like you have more hits than misses, so more power to you, Sowmya. Hopefully you will share your journey with us. Is this a reason why, because I follow you on LinkedIn, that you go and give a lot of talks in colleges and universities, Sowmya?
Yes, I do try to maintain a very close connection with many colleges, and because it also helps you realize what colleges are doing. So the way education is imparted today has morphed over the years. So it's also very important to understand how colleges are training, what do they get from that, the education that they go through, and what is it that you have to augment. you can't expect people to come and being fully ready. So you need to have a very good training program that is putting people through the necessary skills being trained so that they can join the workforce
Fair enough.
and hit the ground running.
Very interesting. What do you speak on, Sowmya, in the colleges?
I speak on, actually, what I'm very interested in talking about is how do you convert an idea into execution?
Right.
I feel like that is a very misunderstood area, because people think it's enough to come up with these grand ideas, but to actually to put them into reality and actually execute them, there are a lot of steps that you need to go through, and you need to influence others, you need to inspire others. So that's the area that I really like to talk about, and an agile mindset.
Ah,
That especially in today's world, you cannot be very rigid in your thought process. You have to collaborate, you have to come up, you have to talk to a lot of people, you need to understand how to get multiple perspectives, factor that into your decision making, and also sell this back into a lot of people, because that's when you can take many people along with you.
Excellent. I know for a fact that KriyaDocs was working quite closely with Durai Todla, another long-standing time member, loved by all of us, who passed away last year, but is still fresh in our memories and hearts. What was that interaction about?
Oh, Mr. Dorai was a wonderful supporter and a great cheerleader for KriyaDocs, and I have learned so much from him. I've always been a great admirer of the energy that he brought to the table. So I think as many companies have been inspired and motivated by him, I think we have also been inspired. I think he really gave us a lot of connects into the colleges that I was just talking about. He helped us figure out how to run internship programs, workshops for the build to learn communities. We support those sorts of initiatives. So he's really helped us figure out a lot of those things. So yeah, I think it's been very incredible working with him, and we've been fortunate. Again, that's one of the tie connections that you're talking about, right?
Yes.
So the power of the network. So again, I think if I want to keep coming back to that, it's help is really available for all entrepreneurs. You just need to keep looking around. You need to learn how to network. You need to leverage the assistance and help that is around in the ecosystem.
Excellent. Now, books, podcasts. Tell us what you like, books that you like, podcasts that you listen to, other knowledge sources that you have, Sowmya.
Sure. There are a few books that have really I've been very impressed with or been inspired by, and I'll talk about a couple of things. Like, one of the books that I really, really enjoyed reading was called Radical Candor. I especially liked it because I think it's very relevant from a very Indian context. I'll tell you why. Because one of the things that we Indians struggle with is giving honest feedback. How many times are we very openly, confidently able to tell our second line, dude, you screwed up? Okay. Exactly, right? So now the hard feedback so this is always, especially if you're a small company, I think this is a very, very practical problem that everybody has. I would be interested in hearing how many entrepreneurs have solved that. If you do another podcast, please figure it out, because I think this is a very, very difficult thing to do.
Yes.
Like, how do you give honest feedback, especially that feedback is not you did a great job. When you want to say you did a crappy job, how are you very honest about it? So this book, Radical Candor by Kim Scott, I really enjoyed doing that, reading that, and I've recommended that to a lot of my people, and we read about it, we figure it out, because Angada, I think when an organization is able to be honest with each other, I think you're able to positively challenge each other. Ilati melotama, they'll say, nee nalla panna, and then pinadi look at what idalam panla, this lot of the scribbing.
In market research, we have a pseudo movement called Ban the Three. So if it's a 5-point scale, the 5 points, they don't go to the extremes because it's culturally considered rude.
Correct, exactly. And especially in an Indian culture, don't you think?
Yes,
I mean, we are not very open about on the face telling I don't like what you said. So that is one of the wonderful books. But the book is also talking about how you can be open and honest, but you can also personally care. I think there are two angles to that. So I will highly recommend that book for
Nice.
if you're really interested in building a high performance culture in your organization, because giving this sort of honest feedback is a very crucial part of building a high performance culture. So that is one of the books that has really inspired me. Another book I really enjoyed reading it, and I've read it a few times, is Tiny Habits.
Yes.
Right? And
You did a program with
yeah, I
Sukumar
was
as well
going to
another
say,
time.
I was going to say, thanks, Sukumar, if you're listening to this podcast. In fact, actually, just yesterday, somebody in my organization was referring, oh, we learned this in Tiny Magic. And I was like, yeah, we did a session with Sukumar where he introduced
Another Thai Charter
another
member.
Thai Charter member, where he introduced this concept of tiny magic, about how,
Right.
tiny habits build up over a period of time. And as an entrepreneur, you have to develop systems in place, right? So, and that, what does system really mean? It's like you're repeating certain things, you have certain rituals and certain rhythmic way of operating. So this Tiny Habits is a wonderful, wonderful book. Of course, Atomic Habits is another one,
Yes.
which is very, very popular. For whatever reason, I picked up Tiny Habits first, so that's what is stuck in my head. But that's a wonderful book, and again, I will recommend it for any entrepreneur who's
Very nice.
listening to this podcast, because it's really changes your way of thinking, and you become okay. You sort of understand that change will happen only when you take action, and consistency is super important.
No other books, Thai member
No, I
books?
do have. I thought you were going to ask me a question. No, wait,
ஏன்னா
I'll tell you.
உங்க ஹோஸ்ட் கூட சில பல புத்தகங்கள்லாம் எழுதியிருக்காங்க.
There's one more book that I do want to
Yes.
mention. It's called Fearless Organization.
Oh.
Okay, that is another book that I really enjoyed reading about. Again, if I really enjoy all of this because I think it makes a lot of sense, especially from a very Indian context. If you
Very
want
nice,
to
very
create
nice.
that culture where people are able to be without fear of judgment. Operate, because that's not how our school systems and our education systems really groom people.
Now, continuing on the book, Sowmya, you are a published author.
Mhm.
Tell us about your book. What is that book about?
Yeah, so I've written a small book. It's just my foray into writing, because yes, I do run a company that is very so closely associated with publishing. So I have written a short story book. It's more for it was a vanity project just to see if I could write. And yes, so I've written it and I've published that book. It's a short anthology of of stories that you come across, people in real life, just small moments, small events that happen in daily life that anybody can relate to.
Sweet and sour.
Sweet and Sour is the name of the book. Yes, thank you.
Lovely. Beautiful, Sowmya. It was lovely chatting with you. You spoke about the growth mindset, how to ride two horses, how to aim for and achieve a thought leadership position. How do you create micro visions even for the freshers who are joining to give them a sense of purpose? Leverage existing network. There were so many instances where you spoke about Thai Chennai, the network, the connection. So இருக்கிறத முதல்ல யூஸ் பண்ணணும், அப்புறம் வெளியில் போய் மீதியை பார்க்கலாம். And the books that you mentioned, Radical Candor, Tiny Habits, Atomic Habits, Fearless Organization, brilliant. It's been lovely chatting with you. Thank you for sharing your breakthroughs and blunders for the benefit of all the Thai Chennai listeners and viewers everywhere. So thank you, Sowmya.
Thank you so much, Pravin. I had a lovely time. It was wonderful. This opportunity was amazing. And it was it's always wonderful to chat with you. And I think, we get a lot from these conversations. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. That's it for today on Breakthroughs and Blunders. Remember, every misstep is just a plot twist on the road to success. Keep learning, keep laughing, keep hustling. If you'd like to be a part of this podcast, write into us at Thai Chennai.